Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. We'll be looking at a topic, performance management in Agile era. And our facilitator today, Adedayo. Adebayo is one of the core team members of the HR Mentorship Group, and she's also a regular speaker on this platform, something we are grateful for. Adedayo is a human resource professional with over 10 years of experience in real estate, manufacturing, retail business, and telecommunications. Currently, she's the head of human resources for VDT Communications Limited. Our expertise includes performance management, talent acquisition, employee relations, change management, training and development, payroll, administration, HR, technology, and innovation, and so on and so forth. She is a member of the Chara Institute of Personnel Management, and she is also certified with the HRCI. She has SPHRI, and she has a first degree in computer science, BTech computer science. Speaking to us on the topic, performance management in Agile era, I present to us Adedayo. Over to you, my sister.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Liyemi, for this opportunity and for this great learning platform. Once again, good evening, everyone. The topic we are going to be looking at this evening is titled Performance Management in Agile Era, Empowering Growth Through Continuous Feedback and Agility. And we are going to be looking at understanding the Agile mindset, evolution of performance management, goal settings in Agile teams. Then we look at some metrics and tools that are very important when in Agile performance management. Then we have some examples or like a practical performance management implementation. Then we take question and answer. So thank you once again for having me. So we dive in. All right. So in my early days of my career in HR, I used to work in an organization where we used to have performance appraiser at the end of the year, annual performance appraiser. We're using 360-degree appraiser and also balance scorecard appraiser. Balance scorecard appraiser tool is the appraiser tool you have in 4 different perspectives. Not happen again. All right. Okay. In my early days in human resource, I used to work in a company where we used to have an annual performance management system, annual appraisal system. It used to be a 360-degree and also a balance scorecard. We have 2 different appraisal tools. And the ratings was done, the appraisal was done, and I got this feedback from my manager then that aside the other positive side of the appraiser, when it comes to the developmental needs, I got this rating that, Adedayo, you are doing well in these so many areas. However, there is need for you to collaborate more with some key business units so that we can better serve them as HR person. And also, the second part of the appraisal was that, you need to be more assertive and all that. This was a long period, a long time ago. So I took this feedback because I like to get feedback. I love feedback a lot so that I can improve on myself and all that. So I took this feedback, but what really gave me, I was really worried here in the sense that, why do I have to wait, or why do we have to wait till the end of the year before I start to get that kind of feedback? Why can't I have the feedback to collaborate more with business units? Why can't I get the feedback in Q1, in Q2, in Q3? Why wait till the end of the year before getting such feedback? I worked on it. In fact, I even have to meet some of my senior colleagues in the system and, yeah, it's true. I think that's true. I need to work on this. because institutional meeting is what happened and all that. I worked on it, and my subsequent appraisal was greatly improved in that area. But so that takes us to the topic for today, performance management in Agile era. So agility is about the mindset. An agile mindset is rooted in adaptability, collaboration, learning, and responsiveness. If I've gotten that feedback as at Wendy, as early as maybe Q1, Q2, the business would have been getting, the value for that. So that is the reason why, as HRs, we need to really improve in the area of agility. Things are changing. The business world of today has really changed from the traditional way to agile. Even the kind of employees we have in the workplace of today, they require constant feedback. The kind of employee we are managing today, they need us to give them that feedback so that they can improve on. They cannot even wait. Even the business cannot wait to the end of a particular period. Hence the reason for having a agile IC. So agile stems from the world of software development methodologies and project management, where it is it's not the linear step-to-step approach. Agile is talking about flexibility, adaptability. When there's an issue, we address it and we move on to the next. So before it gets to the final stage of the process. So that is agile. So it's about valuing progress over perfection, valuing progress over perfection, feedback over formality, and people over process. The way of thinking has to do with in a way to deliver continuous value. Okay, so the principle of agile is saying that we need to embrace incremental progress and frequent feedback loops so that value can be delivered in short cycles. Again, you have an annual process, and you wait until the end of the period before you start getting feedback from the employee or from your team. Then that is not sustainable for the business work of today. For the business, in the business area of today, that is not a sustainable practice. We need to develop ourselves. We need to collaborate more with other business units so that we can start getting value in short cycles. That is what Agile is talking about, incremental process and frequent feedback loops. Another principle of Agile performance management is that we need to empower teams to make decisions and manage their homework. That is to say that our employees should be part of objective setting. Employees should be they want to be more involved in the goal setting. So employees should be part of it, allow them to manage their work and also in order to get the business outcome. Again, we need to see constant refinement. So again, this is going back to you have an objective for the year. For example, you said, okay, we are going to deliver for the sales department, we have 200 million to achieve in this year. That's our sales revenue for the year. And everybody go out to start seeking for this money. So there have to be that section, there have to be that platform where everybody's activity is being monitored on a real-time basis so that correction can be made, adjustments can be made. Goals should not be static. It should be a changing goal so that we can get value and start addressing any issue. So evolution of performance management. Again, in the past, we have to wait for the end of the year review. That is not really realistic. I don't know if sometimes we get feedback that, oh, these objectives or some business owner, or they can say, oh, why is it that performance management is far from the performance of the organization? Performance management of individuals is far from the performance of the organization. Then there's a problem. If that is the appraisal system that we are currently running, there's a problem. Individual performance should, in a way, add up to the performance of the organization. So we need to connect the dots. And in a way to do that, we need to be more agile in our approach, in the way we deliver or we deploy performance management in our various fields. The reason why a business is set out is to make, is for productivity. is for performance. So a performance-driven organization in this era, it is the one that can thrive. It is the one that can be sustainable. So it is our responsibility to understand how Agile can work and how we can better improve on it. Okay, so the traditional performance management says that, oh, okay, our appraisal is done annual appraisal or biannual. Sometimes, it's different organization. Okay, so the traditional performance management is also the manager-led, where appraisal system is usually like a judgment day. Appraisal system, everybody starts, tries performance. Everybody should know, staff should know, employees should know how they are performing, even right from the beginning, right from the time a staff join an organization, he or she should know the performance over time. I mean, like at a go. So that is what agility in performance management is talking about. It is not just we are not just at the mercy of our line managers. It's not longer, we develop the objectives together. Everybody know what they need to do. Everybody know their own part in the achievement of the goal. So performance management used to be like a static goals. What my KPIs or my objectives, the beginning of the year, it is still how it is to the end of the year. Even if I'm having any issues, if I'm having any challenges, we get response that, oh, no, that is your KPI. Nothing can be done about it. Then it is not a realistic KPI. So if you have goals that is static in this changing world, in this changing business world, then there's a problem. Then the performance management is not agile. It's not agile. It has to be flexible. It has to be in as much as it has to be challenging. Yes, it has to be. We have to adapt. We have to keep changing. Okay. So that used to be the traditional performance management, and also the ranking-based appraisal system. So Agile is talking about continuous feedback, and actually we cannot. In fact, almost every slide that I have yesterday talks about continuous feedback, because it talks about, how important it is to what we are dealing with. How important continuous feedback. We cannot overemphasize that. We have to give continuous feedback. Managers have to give continuous feedback to their subordinates. And again, team peer involved. Team peer involved. Share accountability for team outcomes. I said that earlier, that everybody should be part of the goal setting. Everybody should be part of it. We set the goals together. We work towards achieving it. Gone are the days where employees just have KPIs and they don't even understand what it is. It's just like, that is what I was given. That is our appraiser. That is what management, put together for us. Yes, it can be, but we have to cascade it down in a way that everybody can understand it. They are part of it so that they can run through it. So that is the agility in performance management. Dynamic, flexible growth focus. Performance management should focus on growth and learning. Growth and learning, not a setup appraisal, not a judgment day for employees. Okay. This is to address, to clarify, it's kind of difference between, or similarity between performance management and performance appraisal. So performance management is a more broader framework. It is not just one item. It is the performance of individuals and the performance of the organization. So performance management is an ongoing process of setting goals, providing feedback, and enabling performance. So continuous feedback and development, real-time, collaborative coaching based. We have different tools, OKRs, one-on-ones. We are still going to deal with that in more detail. Feedback loops and checking. Encourages learning and improvement at every step. Okay, so while performance appraiser, it's a subset of performance management. So because there's also a need for us to have that understanding. So performance appraiser is a subset of performance management. Performance management is more holistic. Performance appraiser also is a way to rate the previous appraiser. For example, if your performance appraiser is a quarterly based or a biannual based, So you are checking the evaluation of 1 to 6, month 1 to month 6. Okay, so it's also evaluative, highly formal, you're trying to get some records and all that. So, and it's also used for administrative purpose. For example, if you want to consider promotion, you have to check the staff appraiser from a particular period and to a particular period. So that is, but what we are talking about this evening is not just the appraiser part of it, it is the continuous, it's even the whole part. The life cycle of the employee in the organization. So it's an ongoing journey. It's not just one checkpoint, please. It's an ongoing journey. We are not just looking at one aspect of it. We are looking at the whole aspect of the employee and how the employee is improving. That is the era that we are now. Okay. Okay. So components of agile performance management: goal setting, dynamics goals that are updated regularly to reflect changing priorities. So this is talking about changing of goals. As at when we have a flexible appraisal system that maybe a quarterly or a biannual system, and you are changing it as when you. An example of this is was a real life scenario was there was a time I was reviewing some appraisal results. We had that appraisal quarterly, and I was putting everything together just to collate, to review, and to give recommendation to management. And I noticed this particular department, a core revenue generating department. And I noticed that the appraiser, especially from the team leads, the HODs and the team leads in that department, in that division, not department, in that division. And there's this particular train of the appraiser, that's the comment section actually, that says that, okay, you are doing well, and et cetera, et cetera. However, you need to generate, or we need to recover the depth, that there's a lot of depth in that division, which needs to be recovered. So that comment was given to almost all the team leads. Okay, I looked at it and we gave some recommendations. I gave my recommendations, to highlight that problem area and presented to management. Q2 appraiser too, the same thing in that area, so in that division. And in a way to solve the problem that we cannot, what's the essence of the appraiser when the developmental, the issue, nobody's, I even also realized that even in subsequent management meeting, it was brought up, but it was not addressed. It was brought up, nobody addressed it. Okay. So I sent a mail to the MD. I said, I will, based on my findings and my review of the appraiser over time, I would like to propose to change the format of the next management meeting, not the appraisal, because the appraiser, that's going to be another, what's it called? So I said, I would like to change this format of the management meeting. And I gave him the format and he approved. So I took I designed a template. I sent it to that particular, of course, everybody, but my focus is that particular division actually. So I sent it to them and I told them that, okay, the next management meeting has been scheduled to this particular period. Some of them call, why do I say, well, that is from management, that's management decision, and it's just to make us better. And everybody took the templates, started working on it. But what I noticed was that there was so much reconciliation meeting between this particular division and our account department. They were asking for reports, reconciling accounts, who is owing, who is not owing, because my format says that the templates, number one, financial, all the sites, all the properties that we are managing, we want to have the financial status, their financial record and their financial status. If they are owing, how much are they owing? And what is the action plan that you want to do to recover, or that you want to implement to recover that cost, or that debt? So that was put together. They were put. So when we had the meeting, it was a very huge high hope now for the GMD. For the MD. He said, so these are we were able to see the worst of even all all the portfolios they are managing in that division. And they were surprised. They were like, what? So this customer are owing us this much, and nobody is escalating to him. That was what he said. He said nobody is escalating to him. So he asked the CEO that, is she aware? He said, yes, she's aware that a lot of customers are owing, but she did not see it in this light. And what was the action plan? Before that end of the quarter, they must recover half of that money. Half of that, yes. And they did. They did actually, because it's not as if it was so difficult to maybe get, but just someone was not maybe on top of it. So, and the next appraisal cycle, in fact, it was a good thing for, apart from even before the appraisal cycle, it was a good thing. The later came that, oh, HR, if we're able to get this particular amount, what are we going to give? What are you going to give us? No problem. We are going to, when we get to that, we deal. And everybody smiled at the end of the year. So what am I trying to say? The point here is that when you know, of course, you have to understand your business environment, and we should be able to address things before it gets bad. No, we should be able to address it before it gets bad. So that agility was deployed there. Now we cannot just wait. Somebody just needs to put this together and do the right thing. So that is, to me, that is also an example of agility in performance management. When you sit with HR that want to put this together, we should be able to see a trend and to be able to act on it. Okay. So back to the components of agile performance management. It's talking about updated and regular updated goals to reflect the changing priorities. Another point was when we were designing another appraisal system for that other quarter, there was feedback that we need to even or reset or redesign this appraisal system so that it can reflect the true. So then every facility manager now has that objective to show the current status of their, to achieve a particular percentage of their what's it called now, of the cost. So that was we had to redesign the appraiser to suit the business reality. Because if we do not reset the appraiser, we do not redesign it, we are not going to be, it's not going to show us the true picture of the issue we are having. Okay, so dynamics goals, they have to be updated regularly. Dynamics goals, they have to be updated regularly, and ongoing feedback. This is very important as well when running or deploying an agile performance management. There has to be regular feedback. In as much as we have to go through the formal feedback, we set up a meeting, everybody gets to come one after the other. Sometimes, you need to understand the different thing we are managing. So we need to understand it so that we can better address the real issue. Sometimes the feedback or it can be informal, just like, oh, okay, they don't have to maybe not calling me for a meeting or invite someone for a meeting. You just have to meet your team, sometimes formally and sometimes informally, so that you can get the real feedback and address it on a go. Okay, regular check-ins, the real conversation between managers and employees. Sometimes I've noticed from experience that sometimes when we are running an appraisal system, we do not, that last part of the process that says the one-on-one conversation is usually always missing. And it is the most important part of the appraisal system. That feedback section, the one-on-one section between a manager and the subordinates. So it is the most important, in which if we don't do it right, we are going to be having issues. So please, when this is an important component of performance management, which we have to continue to improve on. Okay, and we have coaching and development. Managers act as coaches rather than evaluators. Like I mentioned earlier, an appraiser, performance appraiser in the workplace should not be something that people don't like, or should not be something that people run away from. It should not be a judgment day. We need to train managers. It is also our responsibility to train managers to be able to act as a real coach or as a mentor to their subordinates, and not just, oh, we have to wait till the appraisal period before we get to talk. No, they have to act as a mentor, and as that should be done on a regular basis. Okay, so also the tools, transparent truth, metrics and tools. We have to, the use of that. There are so many There are so many tools. There are so many tools that we can use now to monitor the performance of staff, of employees in the organization. There are so many tools that we can deploy, that we can use to track and monitor staff performance or progress in respective department. We are going to look into that in more details as well. And also simplified periodic reviews, flexible appraisal system. Again, you don't want to have, some people don't even have a clear KPI set for across the company or across the year. So KPI should be simple. It should be simple to deploy, not to have all the job descriptions listed as KPI. No, there are different things. Job description is your duties, a guide onto what an employee is supposed to be doing, a guide onto the duties and responsibility of employees. While your KPI is the critical success factor, the key business outcome you want to see. So this has to be simplified in a way that it meets, and it's just straightforward and easy to measure. Okay. Real-time recognition, immediate acknowledgement. So the performance policy should be designed in a way that there's reward and recognition. Okay, so we are going to be looking at how to set smart goals. How to set smart goals when deploying a performance appraisal system. The first part of it is specific. Specific. We have to be specific when setting an appraisal. And if you agree with me, even the generation we have in the workplace now, they can't just comprehend ambiguous information. So appraisal has to be specific. It has to be smart. So there has to be clear goals. What do we want to accomplish? What do we want to accomplish? What are we doing this particular period? Let us be specific. Okay, I've seen an appraisal. I've seen KPIs that, for example, now the KPI states that we want to ensure that all our sites meet business expectations, something like that. We shall ensure that all sites that we manage meet the expectation. That is a very problematic KPI, because we shall ensure, the definition of my expectation is different from your expectation. So nobody can, it's too open-ended, and anything they deliver, it cannot really be questioned, because my expectation might be different from business expectation. So when setting goals, when setting objectives, we have to ensure that it's smart, it's specific. What do we want to achieve? Okay, an example is we want to increase customer satisfaction score to 95% by the end of Q4 2025. That is specific. That is what we want to achieve for this quarter. Okay, another important metric is measurable. Goals have to be quantifiable. We have to have, the goals, what do we want? What are you looking out for? What determines success? So that is a measurable. So an example here is we want to reduce average order processing time to 24 hours by June 2025 through automation and process optimization. So if at the evaluation period, what the manager is looking out for is that, okay, in this area, how many automation or process optimization was carried out? Okay, so achievable. Every goal should be realistic, given team's capacity and team velocity. We don't want to have an appraisal system where staff are saying that, this target is it's from heaven, because it's not, we don't even know how we are going to achieve it. They just give us the target. So no, that is not a proper performance a goal setting. In as much as it has to be challenging, it has to be achievable. It has to be achievable. Okay. Another important measure when we are setting goals is that the goal has to be aligned with the broader business objective. It has to align with the business objectives. So this is how we can actually connect the dots. This is how we can connect the dots. The goals must align. Everybody must know that, okay, this is relevant to my work. You don't want an appraisal system that is so far from what the person is doing that there's a problem. Then it's totally different. So the goals must align. That is how we can show that this is relevant to what this person is doing and to the goals of the objectives of the organization. Okay. Important thing to consider when setting up objective is that it has to be time bound. It has to be time bound. Like I said, it has to be time bound. But I mean, for a particular period, how long should we take? How long will it take to achieve this particular goal? We must set a timeline for each objective we have set out to achieve. The reason why this is important is that clarity of expectations. Employee knows what is expected of them. They know what they're supposed to do. There's no ambiguity. And it has to be it makes it very objective. Also, alignment with business objectives. Like I said earlier, we have to ensure, because we're also the custodian of performance management, we have to ensure that all the objectives or the KPIs must align. Whatever we are doing must align. Don't forget, we mentioned that your JD is your day-to-day duties. For your KPIs, your objectives, it is the business outcomes. That critical success factor we are looking at, the result of that, or the outcomes of those JDs is what we want to measure. So it must align with business objectives. So that is why we have to just keep training managers or collaborate more with them to ensure that there's a proper alignment. It improves accountability. When staff know, when employees know that they are part of it, they did it together, they brainstorm. Some companies at the beginning of the year, or maybe December, where we have retreats, we have retreats in preparation for the coming year. They said, okay, the department should go and come up with their business initiatives. And so when creating business, how is it done? That's another thing. How it's done determines sometimes how the level of ownership the subordinates we have. So, but when they know they are part of it, they also have an input. They said it together. They agree and decide they were able to put that thing together. So it's going to encourage ownership and responsibility. And it is easier to track. Everybody know what they are chasing. Okay. So that is why it's very important to set smart goal setting, enhance motivation and engagement, achievable, relevant goals, keep employees' sense of purpose and progress, build confidence through small ways. And I don't know if you agree with me that this era we have now, people needs keep changing. People needs in the business, it keeps changing because of maybe the environment. It keeps changing. So that is the reason why we have to bring life into the appraisal systems. Goals, we have to engage them in the goal setting so that it can even motivate them. And as much as we are doing that, we also have to ensure we are aligning those KPIs to business objectives so that we can better motivate the employees and also achieve the key business goal. Okay. Facilitate fair performance evaluation. If we have a SMART goal, then it provides an objective criteria for assessing performance, and it reduces biases, increases transparency during appraisal. There was an appraisal system we had one time, and a lady came saying that, oh, HR, I don't like my results. My manager just gave me, he said he wanted to, I said, my manager gave me C. I think she got, yes, C. And I said, oh, you got C. He said, she gave me C. You know, that kind of, maybe when we are in primary school, when we don't do well, we said, oh, we get C or we get D. Or they gave me C or they gave me C. Well, if we perform very well, it's okay. I scored A, I scored B. So that was the impression. She goes, okay. He said she gave me C. I said, oh, okay. So let's look at it. Have you looked at where did you score C or how did you score? Did you think that? He said, no, it's not objective. That the manager, she did not like me. She just, she did not like me. She has always been doing that. Okay, no problem. Can we just look at the appraiser? And the appraisal system we have is very, it's accessible to everybody. So everybody can see their score, and HR can see everybody objectives and scores like that, the ratings. So we were looking at it together. I said, okay, there's a part that says that reports should be sent to performance, there's a report, a technical report they do prepare that should be sent to the next department for action. And it should be sent at a particular time. The time was put, the objective was even rightly set. Instead, the report should be sent at a particular time, and the manager scored her low because he was not sent at the time, at that time. And I said, okay, this is where you score very low here. And based on your job, this is very critical. He said, oh, why will she score me low? I was relieving somebody on leave. I was doing this. So she gave about 101 reason why she scored low. I said, but did you actually score low? She said, because of that, that was why she was unable to send it. I said, well, but you scored low, right? She said, yes, but she should have. I said, well, so this appraiser these objectives and your score, I can see they are objective. So we just need to work, provide more support. Next time, when you are when your manager says you should relieve more than, how will you be relieving more than one person? Somebody's on leave and you are relieving 2 people on leave. Why are you the only one in that department? Okay, let us look at it. We are going to work on it better. If your manager is saying you should relieve 2 people, then there's a problem. And you have to let the manager know that relieving 2 people will affect my score because I won't be able to focus on the core part of the job. Okay, so we looked at, but so what the objective has to be clear. So make it clear so that when people are coming to us or trying to, we can look at it together. Okay, and not they gave me C or I scored A when the actual result is not A. Okay, enables better feedback. People know, we get to know what we are targeting. The kind of feedback should be not just feedback, oh, you are not an early comer, you are not this and not that. So the feedback have to be also a smart feedback, like a targeted feedback. You know the kind of feedback, you know the area you want your employee to develop on. Okay. So here, transitioning to agile performance system. It requires, like I said, agility has to do with the approach, the mindset, how we want to deploy it to meet the business need. Okay, so we start by the first process in implementing an agile performance system is secure leadership buy-in. Secure leadership buy-in. Of course, you have to develop the performance management policy. It has to be very clear, very simple, the policy and processes, and showcase how it aligns with the organization strategy. Okay, this is the first step. You have to secure buy-in. So the reason why we have to carefully craft this and secure management buy-in is because the leaders, they are the ones that will model the behavior. So we cannot just say, oh, HR, this is the appraisal system we want to be having. No, we have to carefully engage them. In fact, strategically engage them so that they can see the new thing or the need for agility in deploying performance management. It starts from them actually, not from, we are only initiating it, but they are the real model of that. They are the one that will determine sometimes the success or the failure of that, because it's part of the culture as well. And the culture of the leader is very, very important. So we need to get their buy-in, showcase the importance of it, the benefit of it for the organization first, and also for the individuals or the retention strategy that we can get from that as well. Okay. So in the policy, the policies can showcase the kind of appraisal tool we want to use. There are different appraisal tools. So the policy has to be comprehensive enough to show the different appraisal tools and also the frequency. Is it going to be a quarterly appraisal? Is it going to be, so it has to be spelled out in that policy as well. And also the reward management you have to state it in the appraisal policy as well. Then again, we need to communicate the why. This is very important. And also one of the critical parts of running an agile performance manager, communicate the why. You cannot stop having conversations, especially with managers, especially the manager after the first phase, meet with managers, let them see the reason why, because sometimes if that is not what is practiced in the system, it might require so much because we want to do like a culture shift or like a change management thing. And so communication at every stage of the process. Communication. Communicate at different levels, not just one size fits all strategy. Communicate at different levels, at both management level and also at every other segment of the business, so that people can see the need for it and can transition into that new phase. Also, redesign performance cycles. This is also a subset of the performance. This is expected to be part of the performance management policy. define the frequency, format, and conversations, create guide and templates for managers. So this is like more touch points, frequent touch points that you want, the kind of frequency of the appraisal system, and also create guides and templates for managers. Meet with them regularly, the managers, because they are also they play a key role in this system. Shift for dynamic to smart goal setting. Shift to dynamic smart goal setting. Train managers on how to set smart KPIs, smart OKRs, and encourage regular one-on-one with actionable outcomes. This I mentioned it earlier that we have to have that. That's the most important part of the whole appraisal system. Is that, or yeah, performance management. That we have to give feedback at when we meet with, sometimes meeting with employee requires different strategy. It's not like you are calling everybody for a meeting all together and you are giving them feedback, not in just one meeting. Sometimes to get some people to give honest feedback or to tell you the real support they need, it is not when you're having a general departmental meeting. So you have to engage people based on their peculiarity. So you have to engage them. You get both all feedback, formal and informal feedback from them. And also monitor, measure, improve. Monitor, measure, improve. That is Agile, what Agile performance manager is saying. We have to monitor performance on the go, not at the end of the year, not at the end of the year. We have to measure and we have to improve. There are times that my KPIs for K2 for Q1 is different from what I'm going to have on Q2 based on the business need, based on the business priorities. So this has to be properly crafted and by collaborating more with managers to ensure success of this. Okay, so here we have the different performance management tools. There are so much more. I just had to put on this for the scope of the subject matter. So we have metrics. Metrics, we are referring to data points that track performance, monitor progress or outcomes. Example of this is website traffic, sales revenue. I mentioned this earlier, that metrics, we are just talking about what you want to look out for. So KPI, KPI is specific impact, high impact metrics that reflect the critical success in key areas. This evaluates performance against strategic goals. Again, I said the difference between that, we are focusing on between that and your regular JD, because we've gotten, there was time we're having meetings with managers and they said, oh, why are we even doing this appraisal? I'm doing my job. Everybody's doing their job. It's not as if we are not working. We resume 8 o'clock and we close, 5 o'clock, and you can see we are working, we are here. Yes, we know you are here. We know you are, but we need to measure. Until we measure before we can actually say, okay, yes, this is the actual work done. So that is what your KPI or your OKR or your different tools that you want to use is talking about. Okay. So Balance scorecard. Balance scorecard is also a strategic performance management tool. It's really it's highly broad performance management framework. It has 4 perspectives. We have the financial, we have the learning and growth, we have the customer, then we have the your internal process. So this enables us to see the performance of everybody holistically. We are looking at it from those key areas. It's not just financial. The business can be performing well financially, while the other area of the business are not doing well. So that is why balance scorecard shows it from all the different perspectives. In fact, financial sometimes is actually classified as a lagging factor. Sometimes, in the performance. So it means the leading factors are the internal process. That's what determines sustainability of those things, whether we are going to even achieve this financial that we achieve this year, next year. So balance scorecard enables us to see the broad performance of the company or of a department. So it links vision to strategy and measurable actions. Okay. So this is an example of a balanced scorecard or a smart appraisal system. So again, okay. So again, there's no department that we cannot measure their performance. We need to know that. Even there's no organization that should not have a structured or a performance management system. Even an NGO or a charity organization should be a performance-driven organization, because there's a reason why that business is set up. So we can't say, oh, because I'm HR in this organization, then we don't really know. We have to still be able to understand and to deploy a business, a suitable business performance management system. Okay, so this we have an example of a balance scorecard, and also in different formats. So the objective here says improve operational efficiency to optimize cost and delivery, and the KPIs are reduce recruitment cost. These are the sample for the HR department. Reduce recruitment cost for per hire and all that. So HR can say, okay, I'm not a revenue generating department, and we are just value driven and all that. Yes, but we also have that responsibility we also have that financial responsibility, customer and internal business process, learning and growth as well. So okay, I have this. So this is also a sprint goal setting. This is also a key appraisal tool that we can deploy. Again, I said earlier when we started that we need to understand our business. Wherever, as a child, different kind of environments, business environment we have, and to see how we can deploy the right tool for that business. So some, it is like, for example, in tech or in tech or maybe consulting, there are different appraisals that can work for that. So this is an example of a sprint goal settings. This shows the percentage of goals versus planned. So this shows what we want to achieve, and also what we have been able to achieve. So sprint goal setting can work in some fast-paced environments where you have, okay, for example, for this particular period, for month 1, we want to improve our onboarding experience, and you list all the activities that we want to see in the onboarding experience, and in the onboarding that you set out to achieve, and you also set the owner. So this is an agile way of measuring performance. At the goal, you want to see the progress. This is what we said we are going to achieve, improving onboarding experience, and these are the list of activities. This is the owner of this activity. This is the start date. This is the end date. So on a regular basis, employee gets to give feedback on this. In progress, not started, done. If it is not done as at when due, we get to have a conversation. Okay, what happened? What do we need? So it's a short cycle that will enable us to see the issue in a real-time manner, and we address what are the issues. We quickly address it before it gets to that annual evaluation. Okay, an example is also launch Q2 training, and you set the task, you define the owner, you define the start date, end date, and give a status update before it gets to that proper formalize the appraisal period. We are seeing it at 20, and everybody is coming on board to put in their the work state, the status of the work. Okay. This is also another example of sprint goal setting. Sprint 1, this is sometimes highly used in the IT people that are developing software. Sprint 1, we want to launch targeted email campaigns for a new product, and you list all the activities. Sprint 1 is saying that, okay, develop email templates. That's what we want to do in these 7 days. Day 1 to day 7, develop email templates, segment the customer list, test the email, and what do we want to see? Expected outcome, ready to launch email template. It's a long list of items. It is very simple, and you break it down in sprints. Sprint 1, this is what we want to achieve. Sprint 2 says, execute email campaign and track employee engagement. That is the goal for sprint 2. And that is in the next 10 days. So everybody comes on board and starts working towards it. And the goal is that after sprint 1 has been done, the goal for sprint 2 is the expected outcome says that 15% increase in employee engagement. So everybody in that sprint working on sprint 2 know, they have a clear view of what they want to achieve. Day one, launch campaign. If you are not launching campaign on day one, you are talking to each other. What happened? Why have we not achieved this? What do we need to do? So that is what we are talking about. It is a real-time thing. Like I said, people should get their feedback on a go. That is how we can improve productivity and make changes when necessary. Make changes, make adjustments, and adaptable. Okay, Sprint 3 is saying that improve lead conversion through follow-up campaigns. And the activities for Sprint 3 is that everybody working on that, create follow-up email templates for leads. Segment, we notice the goal is, or the business object, the KPIs or the objective is very straightforward. That again, it has to be simplified, please. It has to be simplified and it has to be very smart. No need for plenty unclear words. It has to be clear. Everybody knows what we are achieving, and everybody knows the outcome. Everybody, if the MD call an officer, everybody should be able to understand. Okay, this is our goal for this week. Please, we need to get to that business. Get to that level where everybody knows what we have set out to achieve. Sprint 4, evaluate campaign success and refine strategy. So each at a particular, Agile is saying that at a particular for a particular goal, we are checking it out. Is it working? Is it not working? What do we need to do? What do we need to address so that we can just keep moving? Sometimes if there's a failure, okay, we have failed, no problem. What are the lessons learned? What can we do? What resources do we need? So who do we need to, what trainings do we need? And we move again. We are doing it again. We are moving on. So that is what agility in performance management is talking about. Okay, so I have here some performance appraisal tools that we can use. Agile performance management tools. Okay, so there are so many tools again, but I just like to put some of them here. There are so many tools that we can use to do to measure real-time performance of employees. Okay, we have Trello, and this can be used for task management. Sprint board. The previous slides where I listed all the sprint board, we can go to one of these platforms and set them up there. So it allows a real-time collaboration. Real-time collaboration. Sometimes it's not just enough to know all these tools. We need to be able to use them and to improve on productivity. So I set out, I copy what's it called? Put all the what I want to achieve for a particular period, and I set it up on this platform, and I assign it to user in my department. Everybody, you set the date, the start date and the end date. Everybody goes there and you get to see a real time. Okay, Mr. Tayo, why are you not achieving this? What happened? What do you need? What are the issues? Let us have a conversation. So we discuss it and we improve on it. Sometimes it's enabled to address some bottlenecks that actually affect performance. Okay, so an example of tools that we can use, ClickUps. Sometimes most of them are just more user-friendly than the other. I'm more comfortable with some than the other. But yes, we want to get hands-on view of it, then we can decide which one we want to use. Okay. I would like to say this, there's a lot of organizations that either use Microsoft or Microsoft 365 or Google. These platforms are great. In fact, there are still lots more that I personally have not been able to use. But so this platform, we have the tools. We have the tools. We only need to find a way or to properly utilize those tools. For the reason why they are being the features are being built on. So we need to use them effectively. Another one is Microsoft Planner. It's also used for task management, MS Teams integration. So here you can also track all the KPIs that you have before an evaluation get to put in there. This is even people can attach documents if you have any evidence. If the KPI requires attaching evidence, you go there and plug it in. Slack is also another important, useful tools where you can give a real-time communication, Microsoft Forms, SharePoint, data, document sharing, on the real-time collaboration, all the changes people are making, they get to see and people can put in their comments, put in their issues, and we look at it and we correct it so that we can do better, we can perform better. Okay. Okay, so this is an example of how Trello looks like. I'm not trying to market any tool, but just to show us some that are very useful. There are so much more. And so this is an example of how it works. So you get to see your to-dos, you get to see the doing, and you get to see the done. So you put in what you want, what you want to work on for a particular, what you want to achieve for a particular period. Please, this is very important. We don't need to lump everything. So we can segment them, segment the period. Maybe you have a monthly deliverables. You put in your monthly deliverables there as seen on the left-hand side. You can put in your monthly deliverables. If it's a quarterly deliverable, depending on what you have set out to achieve. Okay, rather than just putting everything together where it is so difficult, people will not be able to prioritize what is important and what can be delayed to the next quarter. So here you can just segment it and put your to-dos there. Oh, we want to launch our Q2 training plan, and I'm assigning this to Tokwe, for example. Just you have to launch it, then assign it to somebody. So the person gets to give a comment, you get to see notification, and when it is done, you drag and drop to done. So here you can see, and okay, all these things have been done. So then before we now get to the real lab, so everybody gets to know if they are doing well, if they are not doing well. It is not coming as a surprise. Employees appraisal or employee performance should not be seen as something that is surprising. People should know how well they are doing, and if not, if required training and resources need to be deployed, we get to know on time and we do that. Okay, so this is also an example or a screenshot of how ClickUp looks like, almost similar, same process, but different. So you can attach also, you can be linked to even Trello, and you can attach documents. If you need to collaborate more, do Zoom meeting and all that. So this is another example of tools we can use to do a real-time monitoring of our staff. Okay, so I have some key takeaways here, just a recap of what has been said. Embrace agile mindset. Agility it has to do with the mindset and how we want to deploy the performance management. Understanding your business environment is very, very critical. It is not just a one-size-fits-all. You need to understand how we the business environment and see the kind of appraisal we can do. So what I mean is, sometimes some companies are a fast-paced environment. Things keep changing. We cannot wait. So that means that we have to have different monitoring platforms so that we can get to see and measure and address on a go. But there are some business environments that whether they do much, whether they don't do much, maybe money will still come, the revenue will still come in one way or the other. So it still doesn't mean that we have to still find the appraisal system that works there. So we have to keep improving and collaborating with business leaders so that they can see they can model this behavior. So the second point is implement feedback, use these tools effectively and techniques to foster communication, and measure the real performance. Align team goals with business objectives. We are in the era where every business, they want to really know how well their system is doing. And as HR, we have to keep connecting these dots. The business, the individual outcome should be able to equate to the business outcome, there should not be so much gap between employee performance and business performance. If there is, then there's a problem that needs to be addressed. Okay, so I've come to the end of the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions for our facilitator or contributions or comments, kindly raise your hands and our facilitator will attend to your questions or comments. Also, you can use the chat box. Okay, I think I see some hands up. Victor, please, you can go ahead with your contributions, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you to our facilitator, spot on session. My question would just be much of a recommendation to performance management systems you can pair, maybe 2 or 3 that can go hand in hand, that can go in sync some more. I just want to get your recommendation. Which ones can we pair together? For instance, balance scorecard, and what would you advise? Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so again, balance scorecard, 4 different perspectives. OKR is like objective versus the key results. That is the OKR, objective versus key results. So OKR can be in balance scorecard format. So that is one. And also for organizations that also have 360 degree, that is more developmental kind of appraisal. The 360 degrees to gather feedback on an area of development, training needs, and all that. So it depends on the type of business sometimes. That can determine the kind of appraisal tool that one can use. It determines the different appraisal tool one can use. I don't know if that's addressed. Hello?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me use real estate, for instance. Real estate. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So balance scorecard. We use familiar with balance scorecard on that. So in that area, so we get to see we can use balance scorecard, and we can also use objective to key results. Like objective to key results, say for the particular period of time, this is what you are set out to achieve. And balance scorecard is just checking the health of the organization in all different categories, financial. So there's really no one you cannot use. Out of the tools mentioned today, there's no one that cannot be rightfully, deployed in the real estate organization.
Thank you so much. I'm checking. I don't see any other hands. Just for clarification, is there anybody who would like to ask a question with respect to the subject matter for today? Okay, I see a question in the chat box. Adedayo, please. Somebody is saying, Sam, is saying, whose responsibility is it to develop the KPIs? I'm guessing this person is asking, maybe should it be the HR or line managers?
No, it is line managers. It is not HR. HR only guides. It's not the manager understanding. So it is line manager that is responsible for setting the KPIs. Our own responsibility, we are, like I said, we are initiating and we are also guiding them. We are giving them guidance on how to set a smart KPIs. Even the managers understanding how to set KPIs. What does it mean? How does it look like? So give them examples, give them different directions of it to focus on key business outcomes. So it is the line manager's responsibility to set KPIs. In developing KPI, can the JD be used? Can the JD be used? Again, like it was mentioned earlier, your JD provides the list of responsibilities you are meant to do, or a guide of what you're supposed to do on a day-to-day basis. And your KPIs, again, the critical success factor. What is the outcomes in doing this job, in doing this duty? What do you want? So the JD is a reference. What do you want to achieve? For example, my job description, one of my job description is to oversee talent acquisition, employee management, and all that. So in talent acquisition, a KPI is saying that in talent or a KPI or OKR is saying that in that talent acquisition, what do you want to see? Is it timely recruitment, for example? What's it called? Reduction in cost to hire. So those metrics That is the KPIs. And you can get that when you focus on the business, the outcomes of doing that job. So yes, JD is a reference that can. Thank you.
Okay, another question here, or two questions. I will ask the two questions from different people anyway. Ayodele is saying, in developing KPIs, can the job descriptions be used? Then Dorcas is also asking, for a fully remote organization, how do you champion performance management as HR?
Okay, I answered in developing KPI, can the JD be used? I said, yes, it is a reference. Hello, do I need to take that again? Okay.
You can move to the other one, no need.
All right, so for a full remote organization, how do we champion performance management as an HR? Yes, that is where the collaboration have to come in, continuous communication, and to have a tracker. The Agile performance management tools presented can be used in that scenario. In fact, that is the space where you need to measure performance of staff. You don't need to see them, but you want to know how they are doing. So that is why we need to, you need to have different trackers that is measuring their performance. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait till that appraisal period. You want to see their performance on a go. On a daily basis, what are we supposed to achieve? You have tools that you use to what's it called? So number one, the first part is the performance policy. The policy must state how you want the kind of appraisal you want to use, and how you are going to be the different platforms that people will collaborate more, and like a dashboard where you get to see what everybody is doing. So that is how remote you can champion performance management in remote settings. Have different tools deployed that can be used to track performance on the tool. Thank you.
All right. There's a question from Sikiru here. I want you to look at it. Do you want to?
Yes, I can. How can we make line managers to be alive to this responsibility of goal setting? I agree with that question, because that culture shift is sometimes, and that is that is a challenge, and it requires you to start from the leaders, start from them. So there has to be a different. In fact, there was time when we had to do. I worked in a place where we had to implement performance. It was different from what they're used to, totally different. And we had a policy. We had leadership buying, the management, top management. I agree with you, and they were able to understand it. So it was easy for us from that part. And this next step was to now start meeting with managers. We gave them templates on how they can even do it. So that constant meeting with them, a more hands-holding. Sometimes you even have to do some one-on-one. One-on-one doesn't have to be physical. There are different tools to deploy that, and let them see how they can do it. So with this, over time, you get to see a response, or make them to live by it. It can be a challenge, but with personal communication and you implementing different, sometimes you might have to even do consequence management for some non-compliance, but the main process is to communicate, collaborate, guide them. Sometimes they don't know how to do it at all. They don't know how to set the goal. You have to just keep explaining to them, communicating to them, and put them through on how to do it. Set templates, because sometimes you communicate, you don't give them the live example, like, okay, this is an example, this is how it looks like. You show them how it looks like. This is how it looks like. This is an example of a smart KPI, not to ensure that we deliver. No, tell me what you want to deliver. The manager also wants productivity for his team member. So they will also, if they see a more engaging and an example of how it looks like, they are likely to improve in this, to live by this responsibility. How can we bridge gap between individuals' goals and I didn't see the other part. And okay, how can we bridge gap between individual goals and companies' goals? We bridge gap by setting the SMART goals. We have the company's maybe what the goal for the year, that's the strategic view of the year. And this is cascaded down to the departmental level and also to individual level. You have that goal for the company. Then you take it to the departmental level. Then you take it to the level. That's how to align goals and to bridge that gap. Because if there's the gap, then the appraisal system is not meeting the business expectation, and there will be issues from both ends. for a law firm, who is the appropriate person to draft JD and KPIs? It is the line manager's responsibility to draft JD and KPIs. But again, it is HR role is to guide them on how to do it. We should have drafted them. Well, again, like I said, it is the responsibility of the managers to set JD. We can only guide them, all right, or maybe they review together with them. But it's their responsibility to set the job description. We are only concerned that when they set it and it's reviewed, then we look at it together, and HR keeps the records of that. But it's the responsibility of the manager to do. If subject to managing partners approval, sometimes I need to let them know. Sometimes they might not see in that light. I've worked in a place that I have to do job description for everybody. And when I sent it to managers to review, the feedback I received is that perfect is okay. No corrections, perfect is okay. So when we now get to a place that we now see, oh, this job description is not even what I'm doing, or it's not even a guide to what I'm doing. No, we don't want that situation. So it is their responsibility to set it. Let's go back to the leadership buying dimension. Let them see the reason why. Because if they model this behavior, then it is easier to enforce across the departmental levels, across HODs, across teammates. If we have that leadership buying and you put them through on how to do it, so it is their responsibility. What is the best performance type? Management by objective and balanced scorecard. The best. There's really no, I won't say there's any best. One is better than the other. Again, it has to be the business. And even if it's management by objective, balanced scorecard again, it is just showing all these objectives. Let me break it down like that. Let me break it down that way. The objectives in 4 areas, in 4 perspectives. So the management by objective is good, it's very good. That is also like an OKR kind of tool. But putting them in those 4 lights it's also a more holistic view. So there's no one is best, one is not. It depends on the business environment you have, and it depends on the business environment. Can you help us with the I have that, but not in this section. That can be provided through Dr. Oluyemi. So have I covered every question? Okay.
There's just one more part of the question here from Ayodele again. How can HR manage performance evaluation feedback that contradicts performance reality? For example, when customers' feedback about the certain service is negative, but the manager's evaluation feedback is satisfactory. And that will be the final question to respond to for tonight.
We designed an approach to this is we need to let's focus on the right metrics. You set a KPIs. Customers' feedback is negative, and the performance evaluation feedback is satisfactory of the manager. Then we are not capturing the metrics. What are we looking at? What is the objective there, or what is the KPI of the manager? That is making the person score high, and the reality or the outcome is not high. So we have to look at the metrics very well. What are we capturing, or what do we need to go and capture? What do we need to go and put there? That okay, for example, after setting the KPIs, the manager must even attach evidence. That can also be, we can also adopt that if we need to get it better. Managers should also attach evidence. So we can also look at this and use that as ratings. Or maybe you have another checking department, maybe like audit and control. Yes, maybe audit and control. Feedback, not just evidence, because if you just say evidence from the manager will go and check feedback that are satisfactory. Maybe 3 good ones out of 10 bad ones. So you can look at a control department. If you have audit and control, you are now saying that, okay, for this KPI, for you to rate yourself, you have to get feedback, you have to get evidence, maybe your score from audit and control department, or for the ones under financial, If you say you have bring you've been able to bring 100 million this particular quarter, then I'm not going to look at just 100 million in figures. You must go to account, and account is what that, because account is what that is confirming payments. So go and get this feedback. So those control sometimes can help us to see the true light. I'm not just looking at the evidence that I have. I'm also looking at the evidence from the other departments. So that can help to enhance this or to correct this issue that is in the okay. We don't have line managers, just head of chambers, who is merely 5 years post-grad. We don't have line managers. Then the head of chambers, like head of departments. I don't get that.
Yes, I understand it. I understand. Okay. Just there are peculiarities. HR can just collaborate with the head of chamber. Also, for people who are saying, in some organizations, so I don't want us to be like textbook or rigid like, so it's not impossible that, let's say you have 8 line managers, 1 or 2 may insist that HR should do the KPI. Worst case scenario, and they may be senior to you by hierarchy, and they may also be useful, or they can block some of your initiatives. So be nice, don't make it look like, no, according to HR standard. Carry your laptop, book an appointment with them, sit with them, and be having a conversation, ask them questions, create the template or fill the template beside them, show them. When they are now okay, now send it to them to say they are so, following our joint review of so and so, please approve that this is good to go, so that they can, or if you are a paper, you are still doing paper, print it. You are the one that composed it or drafted it, but put their name as signatory. Go and give them. Before they will sign, they will look at it. Do you understand? So don't let us be too rigid or fixated, because at the end of the day, you have a time frame to get all these things sorted during the performance appraisal cycle, so that you can get them out. And please, Adedayo, drop your phone number in the chat box. People are asking, and your email, so that people can reach out to you. Also, for the last question, and when I say last question, the question where customer feedback about certain service is negative and manager evaluation feedback is satisfactory, that may be a good opportunity for you to introduce 360-degree appraiser. You have banner scorecard, which Dayo has explained. You have management by objectives. Okay, that is a good window. So you may do 360 for client facing. So sometimes you may do the same appraisal for everybody. Sometimes different categories of employees may have their own performance appraisal. It's not every time and everything you do one thing for everybody. So if you just introduce 360, where you get the line manager appraiser, then internal customers and external customer, then it provides a more holistic feedback. Don't forget there is a customer that is paying. Anyway, all right. I hope that helps. Thank you so much. Dayo has dropped contact, phone number, and email. You can reach out to her. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up. And what we do at this intersection is to unmute and appreciate our facilitator. Let's show some gratitude, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adedayo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.